I used the opportunity of the call to tell Ambassador Boakai very firmly that I, Henry Pedro Costa, would not continue to support him if he picked Jeremiah Kun as his running mate. Because I believe Jeremiah Kun stands for nothing and has spent all his years in the House and in the Liberian Senate busy enriching himself, voting for every bad deal that came before him, and never once stood up for the Liberian people's interests. I also told Ambassador Boakai that picking Jeremiah Kun, who is a political puppet of Prince Johnson's, a very dangerous warlord who is under U.S. sanctions, would be deemed as a slap in the face to the United States, our oldest and most important partner. I went further to tell Uncle Joe that having a troubled man like Prince Johnson close to the presidency would be a grave threat to our national security and our fledgling democracy. My fellow Liberians, Ambassador Boakai agreed with me on all these counts and proceeded to promise me, Henry Pedro Costa, that he would never make the mistake of selecting Jeremiah Kun as his running mate, as it would be devastating for the country, and he had the responsibility to pick someone with shared values. But of course, Uncle Joe would ultimately break his promise a few weeks later. After these conversations with Ambassador Boakai, I reached out to my political leader, my party chairman, and Ms. Tilia Ure to let them know of all the developments and what Ambassador Boakai had committed to me. All of them agreed to support my selection should Ambassador Boakai select me. Truthfully, none of them believed that he would pick me. But they hoped he would. They also suggested that we recommend Mrs. Sarah Beslo-Yanti, who had been our preferred choice for running mate to Ambassador Boakai, considering her experience, position, and ability to mobilize support for his candidacy. We agreed to see things through with these options. So on Thursday, March 16, Ambassador Joseph Boakai and a delegation of 4 persons boarded a Kenya Airways flight and landed in Accra, Ghana an hour and a half later for his meeting with my financial backers. The trip was entirely paid for, per dime, ticket, accommodation by the people. In the meeting, which took place at the Marriott Hotel near Kotoka International Airport, a meeting requested by Ambassador Boakai, he did something that would dramatically change the way I see him forever and ever. When he got into the meeting with the potential financiers, Ambassador Joseph Boakai used the opportunity to badmouth me to these financiers, saying some of the most negative things about my character to them. After telling me that he would commit to them, that he would make me his running mate, he broke his promise and went on a rampage of trying to damage my reputation to these people who I had brought to support him. He even went as far as blasting them for offering me such a deal rather than offering it to him. He told them to dump me and give him the $30 million so that he could pick whoever he wanted for his running mate. In exchange, he promised to give them anything they wanted in Liberia if he won the election. In specificity, he promised he would give them the Wologisi Mountain in Lofa County. Moreover, he told them that he could never select Yombli as his running mate, neither Jeremiah Kun as his running mate. As you may expect, the people were very shocked by Ambassador Boakai's behavior. And when they asked him about his promise to name me as his running mate, Ambassador Boakai vehemently denied ever promising to make me his running mate. The people finally and firmly rejected Ambassador Boakai's request to abandon me and give him the package, and expressed their disgust at his behavior. After the meeting, one of their representatives called and briefed me on how the meeting went. And as you can imagine, I was deeply disgusted, disappointed, and felt betrayed by a man I had come to consider a father figure and done so much for. My whole body was shaking with sadness and anger coursing through my veins upon hearing of Ambassador Boakai's wicked betrayal. When I managed to calm down a bit, I placed a call to Ambassador Boakai and added his son, Jojo Boakai, Mrs. Louise Tamba, Mr. Sir Johnny, and Miss Tilia Ure to the call. The call was to express myself to him for what he had just done to me. During our call, which lasted for almost 2 hours, I vented and expressed my deep disappointment at Ambassador Boakai's painful betrayal towards me. I was hoping, fellow Liberians, that the news of Uncle Joe's betrayal of his favorite, most dependable, greatest ally, as he always called me, was not true. But sadly, Ambassador Boakai confessed on the call that he did indeed betray me. After confessing his cruel action, he went further to apologize. He said, and I quote, "Henry, I am not too old to say sorry when I have wronged someone. And what I did to you was very wrong. I am sorry. Please forgive me." Unquote. After he uttered those words in a seemingly sorrowful tone, I instantly felt sorry for him and blamed his action on the desperate financial situation he was in. The man had just wronged me, but yeah, I was making an excuse for him. I accepted his apology, and we moved on to discuss how we would salvage the mess and try to get the funds for the campaign. On that call, I even told Uncle Joe that he did not have to select me as his running mate, but that we needed to find a way to bring the people back to the table so as not to lose that great and golden opportunity. There were many other things that we discussed on that call. The call eventually ended with Ambassador Boakai promising to hold consultations with his party officials and close advisors to inform them that he, Joseph Nyuma Boakai, was now putting me under consideration for his running mate because he needed the financial resources and that he believed I would serve him loyally as vice president if he won the election. To this date, we are still confused about his action and how he treated me. He did not have to promise me anything because I was not entitled to it. So he simply wanted the money. If he simply wanted the money without picking me as his running mate, he should have simply told me. And I would have fought hard to try to get the people to support him without making him pick me as his running mate, because this is how much I used to believe in and care for Uncle Joe. When Ambassador Boakai returned to Liberia on Saturday, March 18, our nightmare began. He held a meeting with his closest advisors and party officials and told them that he was now adding me to his running mate short list. That is how you heard my name in the running mate conversation. It was Ambassador Boakai who put my name on the short list. The very next day, on Monday, March 19, he drove to Carisburg to consult with the leader of our party, Honorable Benana Ure. He asked Honorable Ure whether he was in support of me being considered for running mate. And Honorable Ure told him that he was fully in support. However, that it was up to him, Ambassador Boakai, to make his pick of whoever he felt was best suited for him. Fellow Liberians, what came next was extremely horrible and unbelievable. The same people that we had supported and worked very closely with for so many years suddenly turned on us and began to fabricate wicked and crazy lies against us. It began with a nonsensical lie that the financial backers that Ambassador Boakai had met with in Accra, Ghana, were fake and that they were agents of the CDC government. Ambassador Boakai even went to the extent of talking to Senator Sir Joseph on the phone, where Sir Joseph convinced him that it was the CDC government that was clandestinely putting up the $30 million so that he, Ambassador Joe Boakai, could pick me as his running mate so that he could lose the election to the CDC. I was shocked that my Uncle Joe would now begin to believe opposition officials against his favorite and beloved nephew. When I was told these things, with no denial from a man I had loyally served, I was left disheartened, shocked, and with a strong feeling of betrayal. Let the record show that the financial backers, because of everything that transpired, withdrew their support and did not give me a cent. I lost the opportunity because of my loyalty to Uncle Joe. Fellow Liberians, of all the wicked lies that were told against us, let me tell you the worst